Big dog boxing, motherfucker. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be reacting to a couple of content creators that are claiming that Devin Haney is being avoided and he's being blocked out from making fights because these promoters are afraid that Devin Haney is going to get too powerful. And they also claim that Devin Haney is the most feared fighter in the sport of boxing today. And that's why Eddie Hearn does not want to go ahead with the unification bout between Lewis Crocker versus Devin Haney. I totally disagree with that. So, yeah, I don't think that's true. And that's why I'm going to break down these videos to prove to you guys that this is just all cap. It's just more narrative running, more narrative pushing. And so let's get right into it. So the first video we're going to watch is a video from Blue Blood Sports TV. I do not own the rights to this material. This is for educational purposes only. So watch this video and then we'll break it down afterwards.
Of blocking Devin Haney out has started right now. I told you guys this, right? The process of blocking Devin Haney out starts right now. And guess what? Eddie Hearn comes out, and this is what he had to say, as you see right here. He says, on a potential Devin Haney Lewis Crocker unification, unless Turkey Al Sheikh turns around and makes the fight, who's going to pay the money that those guys want and need for that fight? Because it doesn't generate it. If we can make the Devin Haney fight, or if we can make a big fight with Keyshawn, why are you talking about Keyshawn or whoever is going to be? We'll look at it, but right now we've got to make a title defense against our mandatory. As I told you guys, they was going to play this game. Eddie Hearn is very aware. He talks a lot, tries to downplay Devin Haney, talks down on Devin Haney since Devin Haney parted ways and is not doing business with him anymore. Okay, why is he talking about Keyshawn Davis? What does Keyshawn Davis have to do with this? He ain't got no belt. Or any others. They ain't got no belt. Unifications trump mandatories. Eddie Hearn, I told you guys, the process of blocking Devin Haney out, because Devin Haney understands how to use the system. He don't let the system use him. He's one of few, if any. The only other fighter that did that was Sugar Ray Robinson and Floyd Mayweather. Roy Jones. They used the system. And that's who he learned from. That's who Bill learned that game from in the sport of boxing. The Mayweathers, Roy Jones, right? These are the fighters that move on their own, and they try to box them out as much as possible because they're able to use the system for what it's supposed to be, not for what they tell you it is. And that's the difference. Eddie Hearn understands that puts Devin Haney even more in position of power. His performance against Brian Norman, after bouncing back from that debacle with Ryan Garcia, that put him back on a pedestal in itself. To unify the belt against Louis Crocker gives him and Bill even more power.
So the first thing that I notice about this video is that the proof is right there, dead smack in your face in the paragraph, if you're looking at your screen. And it's not about wanting to block Devin Haney out of this unification versus Lewis Crocker because it'll make Devin Haney too powerful. And it's not about Devin and Bill Haney because they know how to pimp the system or any of that. It's not that deep, guys. Eddie Hearn says it right there in clear English. It says, who's going to pay these guys the type of money that they want for this fight? Because it simply doesn't generate the numbers. And why? Why doesn't it generate the numbers? It's because Devin Haney does not sell the same way that he demands his paychecks to look like. Eddie Hearn is not stupid. He knows anything with Devin Haney involved is a dud. Eddie knows that promoting Devin Haney, he's going to lose his ass. And he's not going to make any money promoting Devin Haney. Because Devin Haney is going to demand some ridiculous high-ass number. And it's simply not going to, Eddie's simply not going to be able to make his money back. In other words, working with Devin and Bill Haney is bad for business. That's really it. Why do you think the only person that works with Devin and Bill Haney now or could afford it is Turkey Al Sheik? What's that old saying go, man? How's it go? If it don't make dollars, then it don't make sense. And working with Devin and Bill Haney does not make sense for Eddie Hearn. And another thing is this: if Eddie Hearn does not want to pay for the fight, then why doesn't DHP Promotions put up the money for the fight? The Haneys have their own promotional company. For those who don't know, yeah, they have a whole promotional company out here. It's called DHP Promotions. If Eddie Hearn does not want to pay for the fight, it shouldn't be a problem then, right? Y'all got the money, ball out, man. DHP should say fuck it and put the money up themselves. What's the problem? Another talking point that we're gonna dissect is when Blue Bloods asked Eddie Hearn, why is Eddie talking about making a fight versus Keyshawn and Crocker when Keyshawn Davis doesn't have a belt? And it's simple. It's because it's better business. For one, Keyshawn Davis doesn't cost as much as Devin Haney. And two, Keyshawn Davis is a much more entertaining fighter than Devin Haney is. In other words, Eddie Hearn gets more bang for his buck working with Keyshawn Davis versus Devin Haney. And overall, as a customer, if you ask me who I'd rather watch fight Crocker out of Devin Haney or Keyshawn Davis, I'm going to say Keyshawn Davis 10 times out of 9. I'm not going to go along with this hipster bullshit and claim that Devin Haney's last performance versus Brian Norman Jr. was a masterclass. I'm not going to fake the funk. That style of fighting that Devin Haney brings to the ring is a 2-pack of ass to me. The shit stinks. Straight up, I cannot get jiggy with that type of style. But if you watch Keyshawn Davis's last performance versus Dennis Berenchik and how he beat the shit out of Dennis, packed him up in only 4 rounds, now that is a masterclass to me.
Devin Haney is the most feared in boxing right now. Devin Haney is the most feared in boxing right now.
So that's the narrative now. That Devin Haney is the most feared man in boxing right now. That's also cap. Because the most feared man in boxing right now is this guy, Jao Patai. So that debunks this guy's narrative right there. But to give this guy some credit, he is stating facts. Not about being the most feared man in boxing or nothing like that. But yeah, there has been fighters that, for whatever reason, don't want to get in the ring with Devin Haney, like Rolly Romero. But let's keep it real here, guys. Who really wants to see Devin Haney versus Rolly Romero? Who the hell wants to see Devin Haney jab and clinch his way to a 12th round decision? Especially against Crayon Eating Rolly. Devin Haney is like a black hole when it comes to money. He's like an abyss because the promoters pay this guy large amounts of money for boring ass, no knockouts, no knockdowns, uneventful ass fights. Just a whole lot of jab and grab, clinch fest, running around the ring, jabbing and grabbing. Yo, when I have people over to watch these fights, we want to drink beer, not coffee. You know what I'm saying? But I am aware that there has been fighters that have gone on record for saying that they have no interest in fighting Devin Haney, like Rolly Romero. Again, who gives a fuck about Rolly Romero versus Devin Haney? Connor Ben has come out and said that he has no interest in fighting Devin Haney because he stinks up the joint. Look, whatever their reason is for not wanting to fight Devin Haney is acceptable to me because I don't care to ever watch Devin Haney fight ever again. I don't even care to watch him lose because I don't hate Devin Haney enough to care enough to watch him lose. I just don't care to watch him fight at all, ever again. There's just too much clinching and grabbing for my liking. And the referee lets him get away with this shit like it's legal. In closing, is Eddie Hearn trying to block out Devin Haney? I don't think so. But if he is, who gives a fuck? That's more money that can be spent on more entertaining fights that don't include Devin Haney. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, man. And once again, you already know this has been your boy Big O Dog Boxing, and I'm out this.